Hey, it's Erin. Are you looking for more strength, size, and power in your hamstrings, glutes, and possibly lower back? If so, today's deep dive tutorial on one of my favorite exercises is for you. We're talking all things RDL or Romanian deadlift. Now, the RDL is very similar to the straight leg or stiff leg deadlift. If you have any questions on the differences, similarities, or applications, I did do a video on it. I'll leave a link in the description below and you can check it out after this video if you'd like. Now, with the RDL, we are talking hinge. One of my favorite things about the RDL is that you're keeping constant tension on the muscle. So you're not touching the floor as you go through each rep. Very important to know. Now, if you're looking to really improve your deadlift power, deadlift strength, this exercise is directly going to help with that. So you have a lot of practical applications with hinge movements. We also have aesthetic applications with these hinge type movements. If you're looking to really build hamstrings, really build glutes, and even look at that mythical glute ham tie-in, the RDL is an excellent exercise for this. And we have tons of variations that we can apply to further advance and really work on that progressive overload over time. All right, without further ado, let's talk specifics on how to do it. And I will say, if you've never done this exercise before, or you just don't feel very comfortable with it, start with body weight by itself, and then you can add either a broomstick or you can start with an empty bar if you're more advanced. Really important. We want to get the feel of the exercise. We want to get the form down, the weight distribution, the feel of everything, where you need to be tight and locked in and where you should be loose and flowing. All of these things come with time and perfect practice. It's not practice makes perfect. It is perfect practice makes perfect. All right, so grab your bar with an overhand grip. We're not using a mixed grip here, working on aesthetics and symmetry. Use that overhand grip that's about shoulder width apart. We're wrapping the thumbs around the bar as well. Now you're going to unrack the bar, step away from the safety pins, and give yourself a little bit of space. Feet can be about shoulder width apart, all the way up to 2 times shoulder width apart. Now, one of the first things I want you to think about doing is shifting your weight from either your toes or the midfoot to your heels. You want to make that weight shift, and you really want to feel yourself standing, pushing through the heels, and almost like a bar is going from your head through your shoulders, through the hips, down your knees to your heels. So we've got that rigidity here. The very first move that I want you to think about making is not lowering the bar, but sitting back on those heels and pushing your hips back. So you really want to just practice even a few reps of standing in place with your arms extended and rocking back onto your heels and pushing your hips back. This is the motion that you're going to initiate to lower the bar. Everything is going to stay rigid from the upper body. So you're going to keep a neutral spine. You're going to keep your back nice and flat. Keep a soft bend in the knees. You're going to keep that soft bend in the knees throughout the exercise. Now, as you're pushing your hips back, I want you to really consciously think about keeping your back flat, keeping your shoulders square, and try to keep your shoulders wide and engage your lats. You want to extend your arms, and you almost want to feel like your arms are simply there to guide the bar. You're not going to lift with your arms. You're not going to attempt to move the bar. You're simply stabilizing with your upper body. But you do want to keep your upper body, specifically that shoulder girdle, and your lats nice and tight. So we're descending with the bar, we're continuing to push through the heels, we're continuing to push the hips back. The bar is lowering, you're keeping the bar close to your body. Now you're going to get to this mid-rep point, and this is going to be different for everyone. If you have great flexibility, you may be able to reach the floor and even go below the floor, so you can have a great range of motion. Whereas with someone else, you might get to about knee height with the bar, maybe a little lower than knee height, where you feel like you're stretching everything and you can't possibly stretch anymore without potentially rounding your shoulders or potentially rounding your lower back. This is going to be your mid-rep point. Now, the more you do this exercise, the better you're going to get and the better your range of motion is going to get due to loaded stretching. So we do have the ability to kind of push it each time we do the exercise safely to where you feel that loaded stretch at that mid-rep point. You're loading through the hamstrings, you feel it through the glutes. The lower back is there to stabilize. So by pushing those hips back, by keeping a soft bend in the knee, you're really targeting those hamstrings and the glutes. And by pushing back through the heels. This is important because if you're on your toes, there's that tendency for your body weight to go forward, for your shoulders to round. That's why it's really important to practice these tips. Make sure that you've got your weight through the heels and make sure that you're executing the exercise correctly. Now, once you're at that mid-rep point, wherever it might be, for most people, you're going to find that it's at about mid-shin level. You're going to pause there for a second, and during this pause, you're thinking about that mind-muscle connection, getting the barbell back up to that starting position. So you're going to push through the hips, and pushing through the hips, extending the hips forward. This is what's going to get you back to that starting point. Again, you're stabilizing with your arms. You're not using your arms to lift the weight whatsoever. You're simply just locked in, and you get to that mid-thigh point. And you're going to repeat for as many reps as is prescribed. All right, that's it. That's the RDL. It is a hinge movement. Again, it is really important to practice this with no weights whatsoever, but keep in mind too that now you're proficient in the barbell RDL. You can move to dumbbells, you can move to cables. This translates to so many other applications, so many other variations. You can start doing kickstand RDLs, B stands, etc., etc. So once you learn the basics, it opens the door for hundreds, if not thousands of variations. All right, what did you think of the video? What would you like to see next? If you like these deep dives on single exercises, let me know in the comments below. We can certainly do more of those. That's it for this time. Until next time, thanks for watching. Train hard and train smart, y'all.